Hello everyone, welcome back to the Dream Dynamics, I suppose, as our first video in this format. We won't try and explain what the differences are, because you have no idea what we're doing here today, do you?
I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just sat at a chair with a microphone thrust into my face, being told to... I assume I'm going to be told to talk.
You are, and you're going to be told to explain your thoughts and feelings and decisions.
Oh, okay.
But not
I've got lots of them.
not in a general sense. Today we're going to play A.GUY versus A.GUY.
I'm a guy.
You're a guy.
Or am I the AI?
You're not either. You're going to be deciding which one is which.
Oh, so I don't count as either AI or a guy.
No, you're just an entity.
I'm versus.
Yeah, you're versus.
Okay.
But what I'm going to do,
Yeah.
and I'll explain the whole format.
Yeah.
What I've done is I've got a prompt, and I've given it to an AI as well as myself. I am the A.GUY in this scenario, and each of us have written a 100-word synopsis.
100 words. It's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words, but it's because it kind of you need to be able to flesh it out and stuff like that. And your job is to guess which one was me and which one was AI. And at the end of it, we're going to see how you've done. But I want you to also explain why you're thinking it as you're going through.
Why I'm thinking...
Which one's an AI?
Which one's an AI?
Yeah.
Got it.
It will make more sense as we go through.
I do hope so.
So, let's play. So the first prompt was an alternative vampire that survives on something other than blood. Okay, that was the prompt.
Alternative vampire. Okay, got it, yeah.
So, this was the first one. Leah discovers that she's a lumavamp, a vampire that feeds on light. As daylight weakens her, she must absorb artificial light to stay alive. When the city's power grid mysteriously fails, Leah is thrust into a race against time to find a new energy source.
Okay.
Alongside a rogue electrician, Ethan, who learns her secret, Leah uncovers a conspiracy that threatens both humans and lumavamps. As the darkness closes in, Leah must find a way to harness natural light or risk plunging the world into eternal night.
Doesn't make sense, so I'm going to go with that.
Hold on. You haven't had the second one yet.
Yeah, well, I just want to point out some flaws in the first one.
Okay.
So she feeds on light.
Yeah.
As daylight weakens her.
She feeds on artificial light.
As daylight weakens, she must absorb artificial light to stay alive. She doesn't feed on light then, does she? She feeds on lamps.
Okay.
So she should be called a lampivoom. That's a terrible pun, but I'm going to stick with it. Leah is thrust into a race against time. Okay.
All right. The
That's
second
not
one.
real.
Second one being Caleb starts his day as usual, but after breakfast he's feeling an unsettling hunger. When he hugs his partner, she suddenly falls asleep in his arms, her energy drained.
This feels like a human being.
Though briefly satisfied, Caleb's hunger soon returns, and everyone he encounters appears increasingly appetising. Unable to resist, he brushes into a jogger. I almost said a dogger. Collapses into oncoming traffic. Horrified by the danger his newfound ability poses, Caleb realises he must choose his targets carefully to satisfy his needs without causing harm. The struggle between his hunger and his conscience intensifies, forcing him to confront the dark reality of his power.
See, I don't know if you're just boring or not. Did you write the other one?
That's just rude, first
Did you write the other one?
Which one are you deciding?
No, I just want to know. I want to know who's right. Who's the guy?
I'm writing. Yeah, I'm the guy.
Okay, if you're the guy, you may be out of a job. Well, they're both bad in different ways. I'm just going to focus solely on the negatives here. Because the first one just doesn't actually make sense, which makes me now feel like it's yours because it attempts to be logical. Whereas the other one just reads like trash. Like, unable to resist, he brushes against a jogger who collapses into oncoming traffic. Like, unable to resist what?
The hunger.
Yeah, but then why is he brushing up against a jogger?
Because he thinks he can do it in broad daylight.
Why are you explaining for the AI or yourself? You got to pick who you're explaining.
You need to choose which
Horrified by
one's the AI.
The struggle between his hunger and his I also don't like the last the last sentence screams AI to me. The struggle between his hunger and his conscience intensifies, forcing him to confront the dark reality of his power. I feel like that's either
I've not made it easy on you.
If and I do want deliberately badly.
I do
what's
also.
Your point?
Well,
are you trying to prove that AI is good here? Because that's
what
you're doing right now.
I'm trying to see the difference. But also, I hated this prompt. The other ones do get better. I hated this prompt.
AI is apparently worth stealing your job at this point. I would hire the AI because I think they're both... which one's more interesting? Caleb is a better... The Caleb film is a film. The other one is just like... it just doesn't even make sense. I am going to go that Caleb is real and written by someone who needs to get out more.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that Leah, the Vampiloom, no, the Lampivoom is AI.
Okay.
Okay, you going to tell me? Yes!
So it was AI, with that being mine. And
you've just written it like a weirdo. Why have you written it like
because
AI?
I wanted it to be difficult for
No, but it shouldn't be difficult. What you should be trying to do is prove how great you are and how terrible AI is.
Okay. Well,
instead, you've proven that you're both as bad as each other, and I would hire neither of you for my film.
Okay, well, the next one's a bit easier.
It better be.
The person whom you or your character has been trying to talk to for ages finally answers the phone. This should be a bit easier for you to figure out.
You or your characters have been trying to talk to you for ages. Okay, got it.
So, this is the first one. Paul has been waiting for months to get through to the police department. When they finally answer, all he hears are gunshots and that eerie laugh. He's heard it everywhere and wherever he...
I know which one's real.
Whenever he
I know which one's real. Do you want me to tell you how I know? Am I ruining your game or is this working?
Go on then. Because
you spell eerie wrong and I don't think I would spell eerie wrong.
That's how you spell eerie?
No, it's not.
There it is.
Eerie's got an I in it.
Okay. With the police station being the first place to secure its area and add defences after the collapse, he'd hoped it would be safe. With this bastion of hope gone, Paul now has to decide, does he follow the trail to the docks or hide out in his doomsday bunker? Food is low and so is his hope.
So I'm pretty sure because you spelled eerie wrong, that's yours. Because, and I mainly say this, you didn't then go, oh, maybe it made a mistake. You went, that is how you spell it, which it definitely isn't. In terms of a story, it starts off very like a person.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you're trying to make it more difficult. It's just the phrasing of like with the police station being the first place to secure its area and add defences after the collapse. He'd hoped it would be safe. Reads like weird to me.
Okay.
Like with this bastion of hope gone, reads like AI. Food, but the concept follows, tracks. I feel like that one reads like a story.
Okay, well the second one is, after countless unanswered calls, Alex is shocked when the person they've been desperately trying to reach finally picks up the phone. The familiar voice on the other end is both a relief and a source of tension. This long-awaited conversation holds the answers to Alex, the answers Alex has been seeking, but also the potential to change everything. As they navigate the awkward silences and unspoken emotions, the truth behind it begins to unfold. What Alex learns during the call will either be closure to the past or open a new chapter filled with uncertainty and unexpected challenges. The moment is both a resolution and a new beginning.
Well, that's the AI, because nothing happens.
Yeah.
Literally nothing happens in that entire paragraph. I was waiting for that. It just keeps being like, it holds answers, and then it's, as they navigate the awkward silences between the other silences, what Alex learns during the call. Doesn't tell me what she learns, but she learns something, or he learns something. Okay, good.
Rather unsurprisingly, yes, that was AI.
Can't spell eerie.
That was A.GUY. Actually, the reason why I say that's how you spell eerie is I spell checked that.
It's not how you spell eerie. I'm pretty sure.
I think it just might be a different version of it.
I'm going to Google it right now.
You're
going to have to wait while I Google the word eerie.
Whilst you're Googling the word eerie, it was at this point I kind of discovered a few things when putting the prompts in there. Up to this point, I've been saying use this prompt, and I know I started using beginning with this prompt to sort of, because what I found with this one, as you say,
that's how you spell eerie.
Well,
So
he's
I'm sorry
correct.
to break it to you.
For everyone else,
Everyone else knows I'm correct. Because
Anyway,
eerie has an I, and that doesn't have an I.
Well, on to the next one. So from the next one onwards, I did sort of start changing the way in which I use prompting for this. So, the next one. Your character's child comes home with a detention slip to sign, but your character isn't angry.
Well, this is... Okay. Now we're getting into things. This feels like an improv prompt.
That's probably, yeah, a lot of these that I was going through. So I went onto a database, basically, of just loads of writing prompts.
Oh, okay.
And sort of started choosing ones out of it.
Go.
As Ellie walks in the door, she slings her bag into the corner and sheepishly walks over to her mother. Harriet, busy preparing dinner, looks over and sees the familiar sight of a detention slip in the young girl's hand. It's not the first and likely won't be the last interaction like this. Her frustration grows and Harriet grasps the note from Ellie, and as she reads the reasoning, a sense of confusion and passion rises. She looks at her daughter in the eyes and pulls her close, tears in her eyes. "Don't worry, you're safe here," is all she can say. The note falls to the ground, reading, "He came to school in a skirt."
Okay. Got ya.
With the second one. When Sarah's son Max hands her a detention slip, she braces for the usual excuses, but instead of anger, she feels an unexpected sense of calm. Reading the note, she discovers Max stood up for a classmate being bullied, leading to a scuffle. Rather than punishment, she sees bravery in his actions. Sarah listens as Max nervously explains, fearing her disappointment. Instead, she praises his courage, explaining that sometimes doing the right thing comes with consequences. Signing the slip, Sarah feels proud knowing she's raising a child who values kindness and justice over blind obedience to the rules.
See, that's better.
Which one?
But as in they're better. The AI is doing a better job of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I am vaguely confident that the right one is AI,
Mm-hmm.
and I say it because it doesn't have any emotion to it.
Yeah.
So when you read it,
Mm-hmm. It's very much plot.
It lists emotions.
Yeah.
Sarah listens as Max nervously explains, but it just doesn't have a feeling of, like Sarah feels proud, but I don't feel the pride in that sentence. It doesn't feel like a person cared about that sentence.
Yeah.
Whereas on that one, it feels like there's obviously it's a more emotional scene, but I feel like there could be the same emotion in both. I just think the left one is a person. The left one is the guy.
So you're correct.
Yes, Ellie.
With left being a guy, Ellie. Yeah, written by myself. And yeah, I think what you've picked up on there is something really interesting. This idea that AI structures and will talk and it will be almost like plot. So you'll say, this is what the emotion this character feels and this is what the emotion this character feels. But I found it very difficult to get the AI to almost like bury the lead, to build up to a reveal.
I don't even think it's the reveal. I think it's the... I don't think that it understands feelings,
Well,
and thus it doesn't know how to get across to a reader how we are supposed to feel.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put that AI one into a story from a bully's perspective, where you were supposed to empathise with the bully,
mm-hmm.
it still works. Whereas you couldn't put that one into a story where you were supposed to empathise with the teacher. You're not going to empathise. You're designed to empathise with the characters in the scene,
mm-hmm.
whereas in the other one, I don't feel the need to empathise. I feel like I could choose to be on their side, but if you told me she feels proud to have a son, but actually you should feel bad for this teacher because their job's really hard and they had to do this, I could see both.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could see both sides of the other one. I think it's one-sided in a way that works.
I kind of get that. Okay, on to the next one. A thrift store find turns out to be something unexpected and an adventure begins. So we have, while browsing a thrift store, Emily stumbles upon an old, dusty journal tucked inside a battered chest. Intrigued by its faded cover, she buys it, unaware of the secrets it holds. As she reads, Emily discovers the journal belonged to a 19th century explorer who detailed the location of a hidden treasure lost to time. Unable to resist, she embarks on a journey to uncover the treasure, facing cryptic puzzles, forgotten maps, and unexpected dangers. What begins as a curious find turns into a thrilling adventure, leading Emily on a path where history and destiny collide, changing her life forever.
So instinct says that's AI because it's too vague and it immediately assumes it's some sort of treasure hunt.
Okay.
Which I feel like is what the word adventure mostly means to people, but it could have been an adventure about anything, but they took it as a treasure map.
Okay, so next one being, when David came back with an old spyglass from the thrift shop, Liam couldn't understand why his best friend would buy something so pointless. But when they were using it in their New York apartment to spy on the girls in the block opposite, they got the shock of their life. Most of the girls looked normal, but one suddenly glowed and looked straight at them. Believing it was just a one-off, they decided to survey the other apartments. They spotted more and more of the glowing beings and began to panic. Suddenly, a knock at the door pulled them out. Their life was about to take a turn for the mythical.
So, the second one doesn't get to the point, but the first one doesn't either. It just sort of tells you that there's puzzles and danger.
Mm-hmm.
But the second one feels more like a person, a very pervy person who's spying on girls across the hall. I'm making no judgments there.
No,
but,
of course.
The second one feels like too specific, and again, I don't know if the AI could get weird glowing people from an unexpected adventure.
Fair enough. I think you've kind of picked up on something there that I will go on to talk about in a second. So yes, you're correct, that is AI, and that was mine. The thing I thought you were going to pick up on, which is something I found doing other experiments with this, is that the use of thrift store and adventure begins appear in the well, adventure does anyway, in the AI's one.
They appear in your one too.
But I say thrift shop.
True.
They say thrift store.
But I was not really focused because we don't have thrift shops in this country.
No, but I do think there is a certain element of they will use the text you give them to almost like take it literally. As you say, an adventure for them meant treasure map, whereas an adventure for me is just kind of something that happens.
See, I don't know, because in the other ones it hasn't.
Okay.
I think it can get past the, like, it doesn't use the word unexpected, I don't think.
Yeah.
And things like that. I think it takes what you'd expect to see, but doesn't necessarily need it. I think what it struggles with is the idea of creativity. If you tell it an adventure, it will give you a buy the book. It won't even tell you what the adventure is, I would point out, but it gives you a buy the book adventure of some historical treasure that has to be found. It cannot make you an adventure about anything other than that.
Yeah.
If you use the word adventure, I feel like every prompt would come back with some sort of Lara Croft National Treasure storyline. Jungle,
khaki, something like that.
It's not going to do people in an apartment block discover they've got aliens or whatever living next door.
Yeah. Okay. I do agree. I think, because obviously the way in which these things work is that they'll go and take almost an average of whatever's online, whatever's on their database. So if you searched adventure on Google, most of the things you'll pick up are the kind of Lara Croft side of things, so it will naturally lean towards something like that. There's a chance it won't, but I think 9 times out of 10 I think it would. So yeah, I do agree. Right, for the last one, we're going to make it a bit more difficult.
Oh, great.
Complete the sentence. If you look back far enough, you can see. If you look back far enough, you can see the roots of every decision that shaped your life. For Laura, tracing her family's history uncovers a hidden legacy of secrets, choices and sacrifices. As she delves into old letters and forgotten records, she uncovers a connection to a distant ancestor whose bold actions ripple through generations. This discovery forces Laura to confront her own path, realising that the choices she makes will now echo into the future. The journey through her past not only reveals who she is, but also challenges her to redefine who she wants to become. The second one being, if you look back far enough, you can see the threads that connect us all. When historian Claire discovers a centuries-old family tree, she becomes obsessed with tracing its roots. As she delves deeper, Claire uncovers a hidden connection between her ancestors and a legendary, unsolved mystery involving a lost relic. Determined to uncover the truth, she embarks on a journey through time, piecing together clues from the past. Each revelation brings her closer to the truth, but also to a dangerous secret that someone is determined to keep buried. The past holds the key, but unlocking it could change everything.
You wrote yours after the AI, didn't you?
No, I wrote mine before the AI, in every occasion.
Before? Well, did you tell it?
No, I literally gave it that.
You gave it complete the sentence and it gave you a film plot?
Yeah.
It didn't just finish
the
sentence?
I said write a synopsis, write a 100-word synopsis based on the prompt, and I gave it the prompt.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it didn't just spit out a sentence.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a meaty sentence. See, my gut instinct from the first one was it's too vague. As in, this discovery forces Laura to confront her own path. The journey through her past not only reveals who she is, but it doesn't tell you anything. But then the second one does the same thing. Claire discovers a hidden connection between her ancestors and a legendary mystery, determined to uncover it, blah, blah, blah. So, if you write a synopsis this vague, the AI could cope. My main focus is going to be on the first sentence. If you look back far enough, you can see the roots of every decision that shaped your life. You can see the threads that connect us all. Again, very, very similar, but I feel if AI is an amalgamation of things that already exist, I feel like the threads that connect us all is a statement that already exists, because I don't think that's original. Whereas I don't think I've ever seen the words "see the roots of every decision that shaped your life" before.
Mm-hmm.
So my instinct... but then there's a different problem, which is roots appears in both. So where's it got the word roots from? When historian Claire discovers... Oh no, that's because that's from a family tree. I feel like the right one is the AI.
Okay.
That would be my best. That would be my best.
You don't sound sure.
I'm not, because the left one does the thing that the AI does, which is where it lists vague things, tracing a family history and covers a legacy of secrets, choices, and sacrifices. Which the other one now doesn't do. Oh, no, it does. No, it doesn't. It doesn't do that weird list thing. And all the other AI things do a weird list. Not all of them. The ones I can remember. So, I am not certain.
Okay.
But I think, if I look at the last sentence, the past holds the key, but unlocking it could change everything. The journey through the past not only reveals who she is, but also challenges her to redefine who she wants to become. I think the right is AI.
Okay.
I think Claire is AI. I'm locking in.
Right. Before I show you the answer, the reason why I wanted to do this is obviously there's a massive discourse about whether or not AI can be used to replicate the job of, even if it's the starting jobs, offering prompts to people and then getting people to write off it or anything. And I found it interesting because I think it entirely depends on how you prompt your AI.
Yeah.
However, I think for a general audience who is seeing the final product, not seeing the original, it can sometimes be difficult to discern whether or not it is AI or not if you're not told. And I wanted to test that. Because both of them are AI. No, you did well. That's the whole point, is you were sat there questioning it.
Because I was pretty confident that the things that made it AI
Yeah.
were AI.
Yeah.
There were several things in that
So at the moment, I've given you 5 out of 6, but I do think actually you probably do deserve the 6 out of 6.
I do, because I think you scammed me.
Write in the comments if you think he does. But I think it's an interesting thought process because a lot of these, when I read them after I'd written mine, made me re-go back and evaluate what I'd written. I hadn't changed any of them, but I did sort of go, okay, and the parts of the AIs where in which I feel like it has done a better job than mine. That first one was a great example of it, hence why the others were a little bit better. Because I couldn't get my head around the vampire one. I'm not a massive vampire side of things, and trying to think of something else that a vampire can feed on other than blood was a bit difficult. But one thing I did find is actually throughout the whole process, the AI was being very vague. The AI was being very emotionless. It was very much what I would define as the difference between plot and story. I was writing something to be consumed. I was writing something to be listened to and to evoke emotion when you're listening or reading it. When you picked up that on the school detention slip one. Because when I write something, I write it to be consumed by someone. Whereas I feel like the AI very much writes it just as almost like a piece of wood is. A piece of wood isn't anything until someone does something with it. It was something to be as a starting block, basically. It's a 100-word synopsis, which wasn't an entire show. But I think did lack a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
However, rather interestingly, I don't think some of the ideas were that bad. That last one's a very interesting one. Because I wouldn't have gone in either of those directions.
Yeah, well, my argument for the whole thing would be, I think I think most people could come up with the exact same thing that the AI comes up with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the AI could, for most of them, come up with the same ideas that the synopsis add. Because I think all the AI, every single one of them, possibly other than the first vampire one, stays away from any sort of concrete idea.
Yeah.
They just stay vague as hell. Even the one about the bullying, the standing up for someone else, doesn't say what or why or how or who. It just says that happened. It doesn't say what was said or the specifics of things. Those last two, the thing that was difficult about it, and why I thought you'd written it afterwards, was they followed the same thing. They both said the sentence, then they had a new statement introducing a character, then they told you what the rest of the story would be, but in the vaguest terms possible, where if I thought hard enough, I could probably apply those statements to things that already exist. I could go, well, that applies to both this film, this film, this film, and this film, or this show and this show. Both could start, if you change names, could start with that synopsis. Talking of Tomb Raider, both of those could probably apply the idea that she looked back in her history and learned about treasure and and secrets and there's loads of films that follow that archetype or that path. And I think what it can't do, demonstrably, because we've tested this now, is it cannot make anything that doesn't feel like something you've seen before.
Yeah. It
cannot create an idea that you can't go with 30 seconds thought. That's like that. Yeah. That's like that, or that's similar to this.
Yeah, which I find really interesting.
Again, other than the vampire one, which I feel is just a terrible idea. It failed at making an idea.
Yeah, it did. Now, what I find interesting about that is when you're learning to do screenwriting, and when you're learning especially to pitch screenwriting things, is you are often told that in order to get people on your side, in order to convince producers that this is worth producing, is you need to tell them what it is like. You need to turn around and go, it's Inside Out, but it's also Shawshank Redemption kind of melded to each other. It's the themes of Doctor Who, but it's in the style of Supernatural. You constantly are told to do things like that because it gives people a frame of reference. Yeah. However, what I think AI does differently is it literally goes into those things. I'd be interested to see if we gave it more involved prompts, how it would come out with different stories, because these are all just like one-liners literally made to get a person thinking, and then so they can write something after that. But if we gave them a distinctive, write a story about X, Y, Z with this happening, it would be interesting to see how they structured that.
I think my instinct would be that it just can't do it better than a person. I don't think any of those prompts, other than the vampire one, were objectively bad. I don't think they were pointless or awful. Sorry, I don't think they were awful. I just think they were pointless. I don't think that in any way replaces anyone or ever looking at that would be able to. I just think, I said it in the last one, the phrases at the top exist already. Completing that sentence, it didn't come up with its own version of a sentence. It came up with two very, very similar ideas with different phrasing. One which sounded more familiar than the other, but basically the idea was, if you look back far enough, you see that we're all connected.
Yeah.
That's both those pictures were the same thing. And that as you look at history, there's more and secrets and things like that. And I think the fact that you made two, and the fact that it came up with principally the same pitch twice, is the point that, yes, you can feed it with more, and yes, going around in circles with people saying, yeah, but you've got to learn how to prompt well and do this well.
Yeah.
I don't think you could get to the point where there's any point getting those skills good enough.
Yeah.
Rather than just, I don't know,
write it.
Getting someone, rather than getting someone with the skill to write AI prompts, getting someone with the skill to actually write it.
Yeah. So, like, for example, yes, okay, a lot of training has gone into getting me to the position I am in now, but in order to get the end result I just got there, I did it in 15 minutes. I got my own 100 word things, as well as the AI's one, in 15 minutes. So if I can do 4 in 15 minutes, how long are you spending learning how to do the prompts properly and giving it the right prompts and getting the whole conversation built up so you get the full, proper, this is a good story at the end of it? Yeah. You're spending longer than 15 minutes doing that for one.
Yeah, and I think this is an interesting point where images meet the written word.
Yeah.
So AI images are terrible slop and are just awful, and I don't care how good they are, they always just don't look quite right. Uncanny valley.
Yeah.
The reason that people do AI art is because of a skill problem. They do not have the talent or capability, or actually, I wouldn't say the capability, I would say the interest in spending time.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at drawing. I don't waste time doing AI art. I'd rather spend my time learning to draw very, very basic things that are mine rather than trying to steal someone else's.
Yeah.
Getting good at an image prompt has value when we look at AI art in 5-10 years, where it will be photorealistic or whatever. There is a purpose behind it, a very negative one, and it absolutely shouldn't exist. But getting good at that prompt means that you can create something specific. The problem with that you couldn't do using your hands. You could verbalize it, but you can't visualize it. The thing with the writing is you have to verbalize what you want the AI to verbalize. It's staying in the same medium, it's staying in the same format. You're trying to get it to write something using your writing. So however specific you get, that's fine, but you have to have the creativity to be able to get it to write those prompts that someone else could just do anyway. It will never be able to be more creative than other people.
The whole point in writing, especially writing stories and stuff like that, is actually what you're doing is writing something you're imagining.
Yeah.
And writing something you are seeing, quite literally, in your head. AI can't see things. Even in it can't imagine, it can't think this is a vision I have in my head. And okay, even every single letter that you write on something, your vision is probably changing, and that's why certain things change as you write the whole synopsis and you go back and re-edit. But that's the thing I think lacks, and that's why you don't get the emotion that you get in a person's when something as small as 100 words. That's 100 words. If we had an entire script you imagine how much imagery and how much emotion will be lost, and an entire, even if it's just a short film, because it's an AI following a formula rather than a person having a vision.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's different. But let us know what you think. Remember to like and subscribe. And if you've got any prompts you'd like both myself or also the AI to try, drop them in the comments. It'd be interesting to find out.
This has been an interesting experiment. And I'm glad it proved exactly what I thought it would, which is AI sucks. I'm glad.
Yeah, we haven't had any existential crisis by the end of this.
Well, it's exactly what I thought it would be. And I thought it would be. And I will say it's more, when you're looking at things black and white, it's more difficult. But as soon as you start ripping the thing apart,
yeah.
If you just read it, yeah, you might not be able to tell. But if you started asking questions about whether fake light and real light and white can have one but not the other, you start realising that there's not really a point there.
Well, we'll
Thank you.
Do this a bit later and see if AI gets better. But
Don't
it's
think
an
it will.
interesting experiment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for writing some AI prompts. You clearly spent a lot of time doing that. And it's good to know that you've not put yourself out of a job.
Yeah, it's always good, isn't it? Right, thanks very much then, guys.
See you later.
Bye.